Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to my Facebook page, Kristen Davies. I am going to be having my special guest, Paul Mill, just come and join me. I'm good. I'm good. How has your summer been?
It's been really good. It's been really warm this summer, which I've
Mm-hmm.
really liked, and you
Yeah,
know, getting the
that's awesome.
tan and everything. Been really good.
Some of the questions I was going to ask you was pertaining to, what have you been sensing collectively last summer, and then collectively or consciously on what's happening on Earth this summer, and then moving into uh, more information past that point. So, how was it for you last summer when you were kind of picking up on the vibe going on?
Last summer it wasn't too bad. It was just more kind of relaxed, and it
Mhm.
was it was kind of like it kind of felt like the calm before the storm, and
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like what this summer feels like as well. I noticed that
Mm-hmm.
when we like talk to the angels and stuff like that, they see time kind of differently than we
Yeah.
do. You know how we
Yeah.
see it like, oh, what's gonna happen next, like immediately, kind of like that.
Yeah.
But really, it's like, oh, it's like the grand scheme of things, like coming full circle,
Yeah.
and soon means that like these years that we have here on Earth are so like it's like comes by like that. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
super
very, very,
fast, you
very
know?
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things in the universe. It's
I
funny.
remember, uh, when, COVID was happening, my guardian angel said, "Welcome to the new earth." And then I'm like picking up and sensing some things that are going to be taking place. And he goes, "Well, this is the new earth now." And I'm like, well, I don't know if I like this too much, Agnes. I think I'd like to opt out of this now. But you can't, because this is how it is. So for me last summer, it felt like kind of like enjoy this. This is going to be kind of like the last normal summer. And
Mhm.
this summer,
Yeah.
it feels like the calm before the next shoe's going to drop, or the calm before the storm. That's what it feels like. And for me, um, obviously when you're sensing and feeling that, you feel a little bit nervous about it, but you just carry on with life like everybody else does. And then what's been happening this past week repeatedly with several different readings that I've been giving when channeling for individuals is the angels giving them a heads up that we're about to embark upon a path that is irreversible. We can't go back, and we won't be going back to the way things were globally, collectively. So, and it's almost like a ledge, and we're about to like step off, and things won't be the same. So they're kind of just giving them, I guess, a gentle warning, but in a way to be aware that things are about to change. And I think that this is really what this live is about today, and
Mhm.
us channeling some guidance from spirit in regards to these changes coming up. It's been repeatedly been given through several readings, and then it's just I can tell what's going to happen because the angels are dropping it, dropping it, dropping it, and now they look to me to talk about it. So that's what we're doing today. So how interesting
Mhm.
is that? Um, so collectively, or if you would say the global consciousness, I know when I went on holiday this summer, boy, was it way slower than last summer. I went to the exact same place, the exact same spot, and it was 30-40% less people. Like there are not nearly as many people going on holiday, number one. For me, it feels like the angels are discussing with me that some changes have taken place with, if you want to say, the people in control or the people in power, and these changes cannot be reversed, and certain countries are going to be forced into action, and it's in a direction that maybe obviously in this lifetime we never thought we would experience, and we don't want to experience, but it's the forcing of the hand that this experience is going to be taking place. So do you want to just maybe channel spirit a little bit on that
Yeah.
topic?
cool. We've elected these officials, different officials in and across the world even, and sometimes they'll have an impact on world events as well,
Yeah.
which of course makes sense when you elect in the world top officials like that.
And as you recall, Eric, when I was channeling him recently, he was saying, some of these people should just be removed, but here they are in power, and their decisions and their choices are impacting and affecting all of us. The first thing I get is like a heaviness in my chest and
Me
my
too.
stomach. It's really like heavy.
Yeah, the
And
next the next step is what I feel is that it's going to be a long and harder one.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a harder one here on Earth. He's I don't know who this is. I think it's Jesus coming forward more.
Yeah, he told me he was
But
going to. He told me when I was going for a
I
walk
was
2 nights ago.
I
I
was
was
like,
like, oh, okay.
I was like, I said he. Who's that? That's definitely Jesus, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
too
then,
funny that you're picking him up when he was telling me he's going to come in.
oh yeah, this is what he was saying. He's like, people are already sensing this, like subconsciously or unconsciously. So
Yeah.
the energy is already starting to shift. It's getting ready to like kind of kick off in this direction.
Yeah.
Because this is the moves that have been made on the world stage.
I get a forcing of the hand.
And he's saying people are going to act up. A lot of people are going to be acting up during this time. And he wants us, the light workers, to hold the light and stay as stable as we can. He's saying there's some things that are just kind of out of our control that are being put into motion. Yeah. And he's saying all in all, everything corrects itself in the long term. Everything corrects itself. And he's saying the light will prevail, but it may come in a different way than people think it will. But all in all, he says there still needs to be massive change here on Earth. We're still in the prehistoric stages of what we call a new Earth, and he wants things to move forward, and he's really excited for them to move forward, but he's not excited for what's coming up. He's talking about this mass exiting of the planet, so many souls will be exiting. He's saying some of them will be awake and some of them will be unawake, but the mass majority on Earth right now are unawake, so that will make way for new souls to come in that are awake in nature. He's kind of showing me after all of this done, just like a rebuilding phase, and it's going to take a while for that to commence fully and to something that it feels good again. Kind of.
Is there a timeline as to how long this will carry on for? I'm getting the first 2 years will be fairly intense, and then it will carry on for up to the 6th year mark, and then 8 will subside, and 10 will start to feel like we're maybe in the rebuilding stage, essentially.
I feel like it'll be like 2 years, and then it comes to like 5 years, and you're getting closer and closer to kind of wrapping things up, and then that's going to drag on for a while too. So I think it's still up to be
determined.
Up to be determined.
People's free will.
What's going to happen? Yeah.
People's free will alter or shift or change. But what I'm getting is when archaic mindsets, and there's certain leaders from certain countries that have these types of mindsets, and wanting control and power. So when, just like anything else we've seen on Earth in the awakening process with ascension, the heaviness and the lower vibrational frequency coming to the surface, then the light steps in and showcases that darkness. We've seen a lot of people canceled, a lot of people outed, or whatever you want to call it. And so this is just another form of heaviness that needs to be taken care of on Earth. But rest assured, the light will prevail, and the lighter, more high vibrational individuals on Earth will win out on this. But, really at what cost, I suppose, is the question. But I mean, we were talking about mass exodus of souls leaving the planet, so this is a part of that
Mhm.
too.
Yeah, I feel like there's also going to be massive economic changes as well.
Hmm.
And what I've received from Spirit several times, I'm sure you have
Yeah.
as well, is that these people that are wealthier or just people in first world countries are going to feel the kind of the wrath of this basically, and
Yeah.
it's going to shake things up for them because
Yeah.
a lot of these people that are have a lot of money or wealthier,
Hmm.
their lives they can't see past that.
Yeah.
They're not awake at all or
Yeah.
anything, and this is going to shake their world up a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Which I've noticed.
The other thing I'm noticing is there's going to be a parting of ways of interaction or doing business with certain countries. So there's going to be certain countries that maybe the US never just doesn't do business with any longer. So that will also play a role and have an impact. Is there anything else? I really keep getting that the USA and the countries that join the US will have to push back enforcers or other countries that are stepping forward, or if we want to look at it as stepping out of line or wanting control, power. Okay, so what I'm getting is that the US and the countries that join up with the US are going to are being forced into play, into action. That's what I'm getting over this past few days. Something has happened globally where the US and the countries that will be joining the US, the hand is forced. Something has taken place. Essentially, the heaviness, the dark, the archaic mindset from certain uh, individuals in the power seat in certain countries need to be pushed back or put in place. And this essentially at this time has to take place. And this is about us getting our ducks in a row. This is about being aware, informed, educated about what is to come, not out of running around in mass fear. Okay. I remember a couple of years ago seeing this long lineup at every gas station, and then all the gas got cleared out of the city where I live,
Well,
and so like everybody just went into mass panic. Okay, and they took all the gas, and then I mean there was a point where all the toilet paper was gone, and so everybody heard that we were going to lose out on gas, so all the gas was gone. Okay, so everybody looks out for me, I, right? So the panic isn't what spirit wants us to focus on, but rather knowing of what is to come and our day-to-day lives being altered. And I was really complaining to my guardian angel about it. She smiled and she said, Kristen, it's not that life is going to end. Okay. It's not going to end, but it will be altered, and you'll make it through this, and you'll be okay, and you'll make it to the other end of this. The other thing that I pick up collectively from the angelic frequency coming in is a lot of sadness that this is going to take place, and that a lot of souls will be exiting, because it doesn't have to go this way per se, but those in power, those who are making the decision making, have made decisions. And the other thing I get is the ones in charge in the US, uh, they don't have the know-how on how to handle this confrontation coming. So they're going to turn to previous, maybe military individuals, or getting guidance from others to help them, because they're not best suited to handle this. Okay.
mhm.
So it's interesting because if this does play out and we do get this announcement coming up as to what's going to be taking place, there probably won't be an election by the end of 2024, right? Um, so, any thoughts? Anything else, Jesus? Let's see if
I
there's anything
I
more.
heard
You got
something
more?
from him. Yeah, I think he is here to collect a lot of these souls that will be exiting in the future.
Yeah,
And also, I feel like he's bringing lots of more angels to Earth too for this process.
yeah,
And also just being uh, these souls are already preparing for this. So now that this has happened, these souls have started to, okay, this might be my time coming up here. So I might need to start preparing for this. And yeah, it's pretty interesting, huh?
I remember seeing Jesus with these leagues of angels that he was bringing to Earth 6, 7 years ago. So it's interesting that this is what you're picking up because it's what I was receiving 6, 7 years ago. Um, there are certain locations on Earth, pockets of upheaval, people just taking what they want. It's already happening now, but you can imagine it's going to kick up a notch. So wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you're living, wherever you feel safe, stay there. And if you are living in an area where you don't feel safe or you don't feel comfortable, relocate. This has been put into motion, and it's best that each of you is informed and aware of what is to come. But they want to get this out there as much as possible for each of us to be informed of what is to transpire. And it's already been put into motion. So I don't know if this is maybe in some intelligence coming through with China and Russia and Korea all banding together, and something has been put into motion where now the US will be forced to take action. But there are a lot of countries that are going to band together with the US, and the light will win out. Rest assured of that. That was the number one thing that I received right in the get-go. And sometimes certain individuals need to be put in their place, because if you let things get out of hand or carry on, yeah, it's bullying, right? Or global bullying, if you want to say it like that. And and then I hear from the angels that the US would never let that happen anyways, right?
Yeah. We're not saying that the U.S. is all good and everything
No,
either. There are
no,
there's
we're
also a
not.
lot of messed up things about this, but it's almost like there's certain countries like you'll see like North Korea and like Kim Jong Un and like China, like their party wants global domination, and they're going kind of crazy over there and stuff, like a lot of their leaders and stuff, and same with Russia. It can be, you get kind of crazy out there, and it's not saying the U.S. is better or anything either. But I would say, the free, they call it free market system. I'd say it's one of the best ones out there, and if I hope it kind of stays like that, But I know that they're gonna, when this thing kicks off and everything, it's not, the U.S. isn't seen as a good guy either. They're also gonna try to pull some things on their people as well, try to make more control and things like that, and then
That's what I'm
some
getting
people
to.
some people are gonna have to stand up to that, and that's all part of it, free will. Are people going to stand up to for their rights? Are they not?
Or is
It's kind of
or
interesting.
is the noose going to tighten even more so, like Eric said? Like, are things going to tighten and get even more constricted? But digital currency will be more of an excuse to bring that into play, where it'll be a social uh, credit score based upon
Yeah,
whether you can speak up or not, whether you can jaywalk or not, whether you can do anything
yeah.
or not. Okay. So does anybody have any questions that they want to ask in the comments that we can take? Go ahead and type those in the comments if you're curious about anything. We'll see what we can channel. And my mindset is that we'll make it through this more quickly, hopefully, rather than, I mean, some altercations globally, they carry on for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
um, when we're talking about this starting to rebuild at the 10-year mark, I'm happy about that because it really could carry on longer, I'm assuming. But another thing is, if things get encroaching or too invasive on U.S. soil, then it will be nipped in the butt maybe a bit quicker. So in that regard, it'll be quicker because altercations that last a long period of time, I'm not interested in those. I'm not interested in any of this. In fact, I'm not even super happy to be talking about this topic right now at all. But it needs to get out there, and the information needs to be shared. And we need to look at where we're living, what's going on in our lives, and then make informed decisions as to what we feel is best moving forward.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty cool that we get this heads up from spirit that something's going to go on, and then we get to relay it to everyone else,
yeah,
and that's pretty amazing because uh, instead of being hit straight in the face with it, not know what's going on, it's nice to know what's coming sometimes
yeah,
and be able to
yeah,
prepare for that, whether it's financially or whether it's you need to move
yeah.
funds to certain places, or whether you need to invest in something, or whether you need to move locations here on Earth, because you might not like where you are living now, and if this thing kicks off, it's probably going to be more difficult to
Yeah.
actually move and go to that place during that time of turmoil or chaos.
Mhm.
It's going to be a lot for people, I feel.
Mhm. And I think, in first world countries like us, we're not aware, or I don't have the know-how of this kind of thing happening. I mean, we've looked in the past and we've heard, I mean, we pay tribute every year on Remembrance Day to remember what has taken place. But you think to yourself, well, that's not going to happen in my lifetime. That's not going to happen. Let's do it. I think sometimes things potentially have to get, really popping off in an area for us to kind of want to move. But if we're already in a good location or a good area where that's probably not going to happen, I know my team is like, stay where you are, because it's going to be a good place, essentially to, you know, just sit still in. I do get where I live, maybe possible gas and food shortages from time to time. I am getting that. But as far as safety wise, there are other locations that are popping off now, let alone when this is presented. So there's going to be an unraveling going on and then a rebuilding. But rest assured, with the rebuilding, there's going to be certain things introduced or implemented in order to control the masses even more so on the flip side, is what I'm receiving from Jesus.
It's just like that thing in Maui, or that
Mm-hmm.
tragedy with the fire that killed like around
Yeah.
100 people or something, and now they're talking about trying to make the whole city like a smart city or something, just because like whenever something happens when it's chaotic, they try to control and say it's safe for a lot of the time. A lot of people say, oh, this is just the safe thing to do,
Yeah.
to go with no cash for something, or go no do this or this or that. But yeah,
Introducing,
sometimes.
electric cars that you can turn off and on whenever you want, or
Mhm.
stop people from traveling.
Yeah.
So it's, especially with AI being introduced, it just makes it easier for this, this to be implemented on Earth in future. But maybe sometimes things need to tighten up and get more control before the masses, because what I'm receiving and what I received the other day, which is coming in now, um, there's like a select few at the top controlling the masses, and the masses are following along and doing as they're told, and going by this system that they have created. And I mean, to the point where, if somebody said walk off the cliff, a lot of people would, and they're totally fine with it. There's a large portion of people on Earth that are perfectly fine with, uh, brainwashing, etc.
Yeah.
However, when is enough enough? When is it enough? Yeah, and so here we are. We're just going to ride this out. As the angels have said, just like you just said, this is just the tip of the iceberg
Mhm.
in the awakening process on Earth. So, yeah, it's going to there's going to be upheaval. I think everyone on the other side was hoping that this maybe would not move in this direction, or maybe not move in this direction at this time. However, something has changed, and I know it has, because I'm getting bombarded with it, and I'm getting bombarded with it when I'm getting multiple readings throughout the week. Any last words from Spirit? They just want us to be informed of the upcoming upheaval taking place on Earth. For many of us are not aware of how to handle this type of situation. And it's really best to relocate, move, hunker down, maybe moving in with, if you've been thinking about moving in with your relatives or your family members to support each other, to be more of a small village, right?
Yeah.
You move in with your, and you move in and support each other, then that is what is best to do. It's about moving in with your loved ones. If you feel like you need to move to a different location, do that. Is there any point in food storage or storing up food or toilet paper, water? At this stage, no, but they're expecting and anticipating that the masses will go into frantic panic mode at some stage, and all the shelves will get swept, all the gas being taken. It is at this point human nature to do so. So they're expecting it. It's really what's happened in the past, so it's probably going to happen again in the future. All right.
Yep.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
everyone.